All right, good afternoon, everyone. We'll slowly start this almost last retailer story session. Maybe you wait an extra minute, so I'll just start with a quick introduction so that time for everyone to come in. Thanks again for joining. So today we'll have two professionals with us, very interesting story. You would see a cutting-edge technology applied to a family business. So I've got here to welcome on board, I've got James Smith from AutoStore, Business Development Managing Director for the UK. And I've got Max Meister, CEO of the family business, Ludwig Meister. We've got a 30-minute presentation shared with the retailer and the service provider. This is a workshop, so obviously we want to interact, we want to engage. There will be a 15-minute Q&A session at the end. So feel free to share your experience, ask questions to both partners here, and enjoy the presentation and the session. James, it's all yours.
Thank you, Damien. Thank you for the very good introduction. And I'd like to start by just saying thank you to Max for flying over to Germany. It's great that we get to introduce AutoStore to you, but what's really more interesting is to hear a retailer's experience, somebody who's in your shoes, their experience with AutoStore and what it's meant to their business. But I'm not going to take away his presentation. I've got my own. AutoStore, space redefined. What does it mean? Some of you I've already seen on our stand over the way. You've had those discussions. Some of you may actually have seen AutoStore. You may already have actually seen one of these systems working. Some of you, it may be something completely new. So I'd like to take just a few slides, a few minutes of your time to work through what is AutoStore, what is the basis behind AutoStore, where did it come from, the why, and where are we today before we get into the really interesting part of the presentation, which is the retailer story from Max. I'd like to start this afternoon by just showing you our latest video, give you a flavour for what is the system, where does it fit, and what are the potential benefits.
At the heart of trade lies the ability to deliver the right product at the right time, to make a promise and to keep it. Most warehouses are messy and inefficient, wasting space, losing time. Introducing cube storage automation from AutoStore, revolutionizing the way we store things and the way we move them. All inventory is stacked inside a cube. Smart robots sort and retrieve with superior speed and precision. Space redefined. Every second, every inch optimized. Some of the best warehouses in the world are powered by AutoStore. Whatever the shape or size of your warehouse, promise perfection, deliver perfection. Warehouse robots from AutoStore, the cube storage pioneers.
So that's AutoStore in a nutshell. I can go now, I've done my bit. No, seriously. I talked about the why. Why AutoStore? I'll take you back 25 years. AutoStore was founded by the Hatland Group, who are a Norwegian company. Back in the mid-90s, they were Scandinavia's largest distributor of electronic components and one of the biggest distributors of electronic components across Europe. They hit the problem that I suspect many of you face today. They ran out of space in their warehouse. They had a warehouse full of shelves, of racks, of boxes of items, of inventory. They were using manual picking operations to do it that was slow, they were labor intensive, and generally they had to do something different. At the time, unfortunately, the business didn't have enough cash to invest in new warehouses, so we had to come up with something different. One morning in the warehouse, our technical director had a eureka moment. He realized the warehouse had got one thing more than anything else in it: air. Space that wasn't being used to store inventory. And he decided to utilize that space that wasn't being utilized for storage of inventory and actually create a more dense system. And AutoStore was born. Since then, we've revolutionized our business. Overnight, we could suddenly put 4 times more inventory into that same warehouse. We didn't need to invest in a new warehouse. We didn't need to do long gestation build programs, bring in more staff to operate in an inefficient warehouse, create more air storage. we could actually create more storage in that existing warehouse we had there. Just to give you a visual of what that potentially looks like, what does reducing that floor space by 75% or putting 4 times more inventory in the same space look like? It looks like this. I suspect many of you recognize that first picture. Static shelving, large walkways between the shelves, potentially fork truck runs. Suddenly we reduce that by 75%. And that gives you the fundamental opportunity to actually put 4 times more inventory in your same warehouse. And imagine what that could do for your business today. Moving 25 years on. So mid-90s we started with AutoStore. Where are we today? The system itself is very simple. It's built from 5 modules. Only 5 modules are used to create every single AutoStore system we've got around the world. What's really key is actually each one of those AutoStore systems is completely different. It's like having a huge Lego set that you can build however you want to suit your business. It's scalable, it's modular, it's adaptable, and it can grow with your business needs very, very quickly. We've got more than 25 years experience with this system. We've developed our own software. We've developed the system over years, so we know we can deliver high quality, high accuracy, highly available systems that can have a very positive effect on your business. 340 plus global installs. We've got experience. We know what we're doing. We know this system works, and it can really drive profitability inside your business. We follow today 16 different market sectors, all the way from retail, grocery, the apparel market, the sports market, healthcare, the industrial sector, which is where Max comes from. We're into all of those major market sectors, and we know those solutions can absolutely drive business. Globally, 28 countries around the world on 6 continents. So we've now got a very strong install base of solutions there. And wherever your business is based globally, we can actually supply into there and we can fully support you. Says it's all 10,000 plus robots operating in the field. A very, very good, strong base of actual systems operating. We track those robots. Over the last 12 months, we've actually achieved more than 99.6% system availability. That means across those 10,000 plus robots, we only get 0.4% failure. And with our system, there's no single point of failure within the actual system. So if there is an issue, the system will keep working. It will not impact on your business, which is a major, major benefit. We're very fast to market. A normal system, you can actually be picking your inventory from that system about 6 months after order. That means you can be starting to deliver that ROI, you can start to see that net business benefit very, very quickly and much faster than any other automated technology that's available on the marketplace today. In terms of system size, one of the classic questions we get asked, the smallest system we've got operating today actually works in a retail store in Thailand. It's got a couple of robots and 500 bins. You walk into that shop, you purchase your goods and they're delivered to you by an AutoStore system. Very, very cool technology. And then we go large. 500 plus robots, 500,000 plus bins. That's, for those people that enjoy football, football field size, football pitch size. We're talking very large scale systems. Whatever system you require to add value to your business, we can absolutely deliver that to you. If you look at globally, we all follow macro trends. We all follow industry trends. What's really driving business today? What's creating that requirement? The first one is something we've been feeling for many years now. A real boost and a real growth, rapid growth in e-commerce sales. What does that mean to your business? Faster deliveries. The consumer isn't happy any longer with, I could take my shipment, I could take my delivery in 2 to 3 days. They want it tomorrow. They expect it tomorrow. Especially the younger people, they expect to order at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and at 9 o'clock in the morning, that delivery's there. That puts huge pressure on your business. With AutoStore, our system can actually support that. We can prepare those orders very, very quickly. We can improve productivity. We've got clients that are getting 300, 400, 500% improvements in productivity by utilising AutoStore. Imagine being able to actually reduce the time that your carriers come in to collect goods from you. That has a massive impact on your ability to deliver to your consumers faster, which is what e-commerce is all about. So we've absolutely got a big tick in that box. The next one, automation. The growth in automation is staggering. We've been in this world now 25 years. I would say in the last 5, we've seen an exponential growth in how fast automation, and especially robotics, is growing. Suddenly robotics are becoming a standard feature in so many more industries. What was previously seen in really the automotive industry and some of the industrial market sectors is now being seen throughout the logistics and warehousing industry as well. And that will continue to grow. Of course, we tick that box. One of the really big trends that we're seeing now is people are moving back to the cities. There's a real growth in urbanisation. That puts huge challenges on the logistics world. People expect warehousing and logistics to be closer to where they're living. They expect people to be able to go to work closer to where they're living in those urban areas. But there isn't the space for vast warehouses. There isn't the space available to build new warehouses in those urban regions. AutoStore, typically 75% of our installs go into existing brownfield sites. So we can absolutely support with that. We can put a fully automated solution into that urban area utilising existing buildings. And that's something very, very unique. The other big benefit we've got with urbanisation is ours is a very green solution. We've got customers today that are actually running and operating their AutoStore systems 100% on solar generated power. That's how efficient our system is. So you can have an absolutely green system operating in that urban environment and tick all of your sustainability boxes. And finally, the demand for speed, accuracy, quality. Consumers today are not happy to receive something that's not right. They expect it right first time, they expect it delivered very quickly, and they expect to be able to come back to you because it's a very good service. We can absolutely help you deliver that. So that's the AutoStore proposal, and we definitely get a tick for that box. Enough of my presentation. You came here today to listen to Max and listen to what he's done with Ludwig Meister. So I'm going to pass over to Max now and let you tell his story.
Okay. So the good thing is that you know that there will be a FAQ session afterwards, so you can think about smart questions now during the presentation. My name is Max. You can connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and everywhere. I am CEO of our family business. It's a 3rd generation. I will say 2 sentences about this. And about the podcast geek thing, I will talk later. Company is founded in 39. I am representing the 3rd generation. I'm running the business Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, by that time I was still wearing a tie, so I still like the picture.
Did you come with a Defender?
No, I'm busy at the moment because this takes 50 hours without repairing. Okay, I'm running the company together with my sister. We have about 100 million euros turnover, 300 employees, and we are in the industrial sector, so we are not a retailer, but I think this doesn't care because you are interested in the technology. And we have about 15,000 active customers and 11 branches, but we only have automized in our central warehouse. So I want to show you our starting position. We were very experienced in conveyor technique because we had 20 meters of conveyor technique before we started. And I wanted to show to you, so we had hand shelves, pallet shelves, some conveyor belts, and we had no space. This was the biggest problem for us. And we started with around about 70 million euros turnover, this project. So we grew within 5 years from 70 to more than 100 million. And I think this is a good picture because I know that many logistic systems look like this. So the principle of chaos, and you are happy when the customers are not screaming. Our goals were same-day delivery, minimizing picking errors, and we want to have a scalable logistic. And we always had problems to get new people, so we hope that the training on the job or training for the picking job would need less time. So this was our first intention, so we decided to optimize the existing system. But everybody who is optimizing existing systems and is really looking into the processes is suddenly realizing how many processes you have. So I work a lot in our logistics, so I always thought that I know what is happening there. But what I realized is that we had more than 100 different processes in our logistics for special customers, making special wrapping, making customized labeling and stuff like this. And when I realized this will not work in the existing system because our IT technology was not capable of it, we said we need a new goal, and this was we want to have 100% digitalized processes, also for the special things we do for our customers. So we said we want to use automation as a tactic. So when we put everything in an automatic system, we have the chance that on the long run our processes will work. And today we have more than 100 customized processes that we realize on one port. So when you come to our company, we pick about 15 million euros turnover with 100 different processes in 12 square meters in front of one port today. But this was a long journey. And also, to be honest, I realized this during the journey, that this will be very long. Yeah, so we can do nice marketing pictures with yellow robots. And you know how the system works. Why did we choose AutoStore? First and very most important point, it's very sexy. That means in our industry, nobody knew the word AutoStore when we started. It was in 2012. So I always call it the most expensive marketing flyer you can buy. We had in the first year, we had 1,400 company tours in our logistics. So we really tried to use this. For us, biggest advantage is if you have a problem with one robot or with one port, the system is still working. You just have to shift, or usually you can help yourself very fast. 1 square meter is about 400 euros in Dachau, where we are staying, so we have to utilize the space. The performance for our company was even oversized, and it was scalable. So, okay, here it's just the drawing of our logistic, and what I wanted you to show is that we started. Okay, now you have to use your imagination. We started with a smaller AutoStore. It was maybe 25,000 bins, and we expanded it once, and even we connected the AutoStore with conveyor belts then. So now we have more than 20 meters. So let's see. Maybe I shouldn't step on the cables. That would help, huh? Okay, I will continue. The most important thing is, in my point of view, that you can adapt the system however you want it. So we didn't buy the system for a company that we wanted to be in 10 to 15 years. So no, we bought the system in a very small configuration, and then we added more robots and more bins, and we expanded the grid. Okay. So the drawing is not so important, it grew in size. So we started with 23,000 bins, now we have 36,000, and this is good news now for AutoStore. We are planning at the moment a double stack AutoStore with more than 160,000 bins on the same location. And this is really how we try to grow. Okay, this picture is boring anyway. So what challenges do you have when you automate in a logistic process? My point of view, biggest challenge is the IT infrastructure. And I have to explain how we did it. in order to start with AutoStore, we had to make an update for our ERP system. We developed an own WMS and the connection to the AutoStore, and we had to switch to a chaotic stock system. And we have done everything on the same day. Today, I wouldn't do this again. Our head of IT, he was very relaxed because he said what could happen. And yeah, I don't know what could happen. But my suggestion would be, if you start with an AutoStore project, start with the software first. So really try to find the right WMS partner, find the right implementation partner, and really think about what your software can deliver, what things you need, and what the system needs, and really check this out very early, because I was a little bit late on this question. So this is my point of view, the biggest learning. You have to tell me how long I have to describe everything in very beautiful pictures.
You had still 4 or 5 slides, right?
Yeah.
Can you put the mic on? So maybe we can just, while they find out a solution, if any, jump into a couple of questions.
Sure.
Going into what you just mentioned, when you look at the solution from a customer perspective. So how many people here in the room are running through a couple of issues in warehousing, being for picking or optimization, who do not have any issue with warehousing? Right. Okay. So.
No.
Okay.
Kidding.
Yeah.
No.
So the very first question we might have is, would the system fit all my SKUs? Because I think it's the first question. There are a couple of questions that when we see that and the optimization that you want, that we achieve. Sorry, thanks. The question might be, would that be able to manage all my SKUs?
So you have 3 different sizes of bins today. So we have the smallest bins, and we make 97% of our turnover. We make with AutoStore.
Okay.
And the weight of the smaller bins is 30 kilos, and I don't know what the higher bins is. The weight. The same.
Capacity in the bins.
All right. That puts things in perspective. Thank you, guys.
We have in Dachau now 80,000 SKUs, and we started with 37,000, and our goal is to double it the next 5 years.
So maybe you finish the small
Okay.
slides, and then we go through the questions so that everyone can.
I will try to find my point again. Okay, I was talking about IT challenges, and I will show you a slide later on where you can see the actual state of our AutoStore. So we call it Logistik für Gewinner. That means logistics for winners. And this is how we really try to do marketing with the AutoStore in our company. And we have done all the software by ourselves. And I have no clue of what these boxes do, but I know that it's working. And the blue ones are software parts from AutoStore. And the other services, this is all stuff that we designed. And this is also another learning. I designed all for example, the picking screens. But I did it on my desk, so it didn't work. So you really have to go down to the logistics and design the software or buy the software that really works for your processes. Because when you draw a screen on your desk, you don't know if all the information the picker needs is really on the right point, and maybe you have too much information. So this is how we did it. We started very small, and we had almost no tracking how the system really performed, but we built it by ourselves. So I know that AutoStore is also offering some statistic or analytics software where you can see the performance of your system, but we wanted it in our system. So that's why we have done all these boxes. And the good thing is we have people that really are able to build all the software around the AutoStore. And today, we know that we do this very efficient. So this is also one key learning. Do not buy something out of the box and be happy and hope that everything is working. Really think about software and the architecture, because you can improve the performance of the system. So with one idea, for example, how to send the orders to the AutoStore, we improved the performance of the system by 20%. So really take a look at the software that you utilize and try to make the most out of it. So this is in German, so I didn't translate it. This is our AutoStore control, meaning we are happy in the end of the day because we shipped everything, but we track everything. So we know, for example, how many seconds. A waiting time for a bin is 8 seconds. Picking time is 44 seconds on that day. And with this kind of information, we try to improve our overall performance. And it started all with this. We have 28% empty storages because I was getting nervous when we moved all the products that the system is full. But I lost this bet against my head of IT because he said we have enough space. Okay, one last thing about the reliability of the system. I think 99.6% is true, but there are some faults that occur regularly. It depends on how the surroundings of the logistics is. And the robots, they calculate the position where they are, and they control it with the so-called track sensors. And when they get dirty, for example, the robot doesn't know where he is. And then he says missing position, and then you have a stop of the system maybe for 5 minutes. So we designed cleaning stations, automatic cleaning stations for the track sensors. So this missing position fault is not happening anymore. And this was the one and only fault that we have seen where we can make money because we are selling these. So when you buy AutoStore systems, think about my name and buy the automatic cleaning stations. But we didn't find any other recurring faults. So I think this is one big advantage of the system. And for us, it's very, very reliable. So we are doing many tours, and I only had a fault during one tour once. So I think this is quite okay. This is something we started with the AutoStore as a box, and we haven't put the bins outside and inside again, and we haven't connected other conveyor technique and stuff like this. And when we were very secure that we understood the system, we said, okay, now we can adapt and integrate other technique and stuff like this. So today, for example, we handle all our returns over the AutoStore. So the returns, without even knowing what is inside of the bin, is going into the AutoStore, and our technicians will do it later on because our logistic people cannot decide if it's working or not. Okay, then last slide. I have a German podcast. It's called Max and the Supply Chain Heroes. And we are talking about geek, logistic, and purchasing stuff. And in 2 weeks, I will start an English one, and it's called supplychainheroes.com. And I definitely need, I don't know what the name is, regularly users or listeners. So please subscribe. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks a lot, Max and James. Very, very interesting points. Very interesting. So I think we'll go through the question rounds. You've got a question here, but 2 things. Good learnings from AutoStore about the ROI. We've seen that we tick the 4 boxes of the trends in e-commerce now. Huge optimization, like the example is massive and very, very clear. And on your side, very good comment on the warehouse management system and how to interact with this system. I think when we see here that you also manage returns and you can have a hybrid solution, or with a conveyor and other racking, I think it's also very, very interesting. So raise a lot of questions. We might talk about security later on too. First question, please introduce yourself, your company, and your role.
I'm Dominic. I work for Specialty, a brand of Nestle. And I'm wondering the size of order lines, what is the right size of order lines? Because one thing is the number of SKUs, but if in one order you have like 20 order lines, maybe it's not optimized. What is the good compromise?
So I don't know the official answer, but if you look at our company, we have an average 1.9 order lines, but we have very large orders when we supply our branches. And what you see is if you don't interfere with the system, so if you just let the system do its job and don't think that you know it better, then in my point of view, if you have a mixture between large size orders and smaller ones, the performance is very fine because the bins will be prepared for the big orders in the background, and you will pick from the highest level. So I don't think that there is for us, I don't see any problems when we have multiple big orders.
What I would add to that as well is one thing we see as a growing trend across the industry is where you've got multiple order line orders, you've got the opportunity for consolidation. So it could be that one SKU is required across a large number of orders, and you can actually be doing a batching process at the picking station. So you're actually picking a larger quantity of SKUs and actually splitting that out into individual orders. So it makes the process a lot more efficient.
And I want to add one thing more. There is, I don't know what the name is, a consolidation flag. And for example, what we do is when we have multiple orders for the same customer in the system and we are putting in new orders, we are attaching the new order to the old task groups. So we are creating a big order, even though the customer is buying 10 single orders. So I don't think it's a problem. Yeah.
Any other question on the floor? Yep, ladies first. Please.
Hi, my name is Maria. I'm from Some Product, Romania. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You had okay.
No, my kid says I always look grumpy, but I don't.
Okay, so we are a furniture producer, also e-commerce retailer, and I was wondering how, what would be the volume and the weight one of these bins can carry, because it's a challenge in our industry because we have different volumes and weights.
So first of all, you have to write many emails, all of you, to AutoStore, so that they allow that we mix the bins. This is very important because we need it. As we said, you have bins of that height, then 330 and now 450, and they are all 30 kilos. And the diameter or
the actual bins are designed to take a 600 by 400 standard logistics box inside the bin. So I think to answer your question, especially in the furniture and homes industry, there's always what we would call uglies that don't fit inside the bin. And that's part of the external process that you will have to manage those outside of AutoStore. But what you can do is actually optimize the storage of the smaller inventory and the picking efficiency of the smaller inventory, and then just do a downstream consolidation later on. So even though you may have some of your SKUs that won't physically fit within an AutoStore system, there's still that opportunity to actually optimize what does fit inside the system.
Hi, Arnaud, company Alinea, also in furniture and decoration, so we can talk later if you want. We are just in France. You said you started with 23,000 bins?
Yes.
But what surface did it take, and what?
So we have the lower one, so we have 24 bins stacked on each other, and I guess it was maybe 400 square meters.
400 square meters.
But I don't know exactly.
Approximately.
Yeah, approximately. Yeah.
What we can do with that is, if you actually stop by the stand, we can just quickly look at that on our designer software, and we can, from the footprint that you have available, we can tell you very quickly how many bins potentially you can actually fit in that footprint.
Yes.
Thank you. Isaac Schwartz. I'm from New York, and I'm here representing Menu Group, which is the leading restaurant delivery platform in the CIS states. I was wondering, very interesting presentation from both sides. It does seem like a lot of inventory management is moving to this kind of hive system, and I was wondering, do you see the barrier to it happening in an even faster rate being the cost of the implementation, or is there some sort of industry model where the efficiencies aren't as great? And I was also wondering if you could contrast your solution with some of the other ones. I know Ocado is very big in Europe, and in the US we have some emerging companies like Takeoff up in Boston that are pursuing this same business. Thank you.
Okay. Let me try and take that and answer that. First of all, I'll answer the second question. There's a lot of emerging technologies out there. You mentioned Ocado, which happens to be one of our long-standing customers for almost 10 years now, that are utilising AutoStore for actually delivering their non-food items. So there are different technologies out there. What I would say about that is AutoStore is an established technology. With an install base of over 340 systems globally, we are well known, we've got proven reliability, and we've got proven experience in all those different market sectors. So we will always see emerging technologies. You've only got to look at the Kiva system from Amazon and how many similar solutions have been born out of that. So we will always see that. But ultimately, people want, when they're making that capital investment, a reliable system that they can know will deliver day in, day out and improve the profitability of their business, which is what AutoStore is. And when we see many clients that will look at potential alternatives, that when they get down into the detail, they'll realise it's a brand new technology and they're quite reluctant to be first adopters of something brand new. So I think that's the first piece. In terms of the barriers to actually invest in the solution itself, we've got companies out there that are delivering less than 12 months ROI. So that can very, very quickly release some of that capital investment and see positive effects on their business. Equally, we've got customers that have got 5 years ROI, which suits their business case and their business model. So it varies between. But more and more, we're seeing different costing methods, different ways of actually creating either capital expenditure and getting fast returns on it, or different financing models that allow people to release operational benefits. And we've got some of our clients that have actually reduced their operational costs by 50% by investing in AutoStore. So what they're doing is using that operational cost saving to fund through leasing models the actual capital investment.
Have you done any or many deployments in East Asia?
East Asia's one of our growing markets. Yes is the answer. Strangely, one of our biggest markets in Asia is Japan. They have some really significant challenges around roof height and around urbanisation and the available space. So our model typically is we're going into brownfield buildings. We're going into that existing real estate that's there today and actually optimising it and automating it. So Japan is one of those classics. Those people that have met me today and my colleagues today will have heard us talking about one of the retail stores in Thailand that we're actually putting AutoStore systems, so you're directly picking your order in a retail store from an AutoStore. So East Asia is definitely one of the growing areas for us, along with the US. You know, US is one of our fastest growing markets today, with the stable existing market of Europe that exists today as well. So hopefully that answers your question, okay.
What industries in the US and Japan are you most focused in?
All of them, to be honest. When you look at it, we've got, across in the US, we've got retail, and that can be food and non-food. We've got sports, athletic, apparel, industrial, manufacturing, you name it. The same over in the Far East. We've got companies that are into the industrial sector, like Max's business. We've got companies that are into the retail sector. So really, all spectrum of industries we're looking at globally.
Yep.
I just wanted to add, when calculating the ROI, and if you compare the different techniques, I also calculated many hours, and there's one thing I forgot, and this was the quality of the stock level. So our biggest achievement, or one of the biggest achievements, was that we almost have no faults in stock anymore. So if you compare a hand shelf to an AutoStore and also maybe to other shuttle systems, this is a very big advantage. So the trust level of all our salespeople in our stock level now is very high, and it was even lower than I expected it in the past. So I think this is very important if you really calculate the advantages of such a system.
Yep. A final point on that, one of the major barriers we see people experience today in terms of taking on automation, especially first adopters, one is capital investment in large-scale automation. There's many different technologies out there, especially some of the more traditional mini-load cranes and shuttle systems that are very high capital investment. They're also looking at significant lead times to be able to implement those technologies into their business. Quite often, a lot of the automated technologies can be 2 years plus before you'll start to be able to use that technology and have it fully implemented in your business. An AutoStore system typically about 6 months from order to you being able to pick from that system. So that really removes that barrier that is the time to install the system. So you can start to achieve that ROI very, very quickly with our system.
And given the sophistication of the solution, which makes, I've been in lots of Amazon warehouses, and this makes an Amazon warehouse look like it's, Neolithic.
Thank you for that.
Do you find that both of your companies now generate a lot of, can we say, alumni who are so well trained in advanced automation techniques that they wind up that you wind up losing people simply because they're getting great offers, even very blue collar type of work, but if they understand how to do this?
No, actually, this for our company near Munich. No, until today not. But what we get is we get inquiries, or we have companies asking if we supply them with the WMS that we made because they see that it's working. But we are not a software company until today, so there is no change until today. Yeah. So we have no increase in change of people.
We still have a couple of minutes for the last 2-3 questions. Does anyone have any other question? I've got a very last one, straightforward, just for security. And how do you manage security in the warehouse? We've seen big warehouses recently in the UK burning and let them fire because of robots issues. How do you manage these aspects, and how do you answer these requirements from customer? And how to go back to what you mentioned about the workforce? How can you have human contribution to that?
If I can take that first one, and I'll address that fire point straight away. You've heard me say throughout the session that we've 340 plus installations over 25 years. Thankfully today we've had no issues with fire at all. All of the AutoStore systems we've got operating globally meet the requirements of the insurance companies. We haven't seen an AutoStore system that the insurance company have said, we don't want to insure that building any longer. And we work very closely with all the international firing companies, bodies and trade companies to ensure that we're actually developing a system that's as safe as possible. Most of our systems that are installed globally have some form of fire suppression, sprinkler, control system above them for that eventuality if something does happen. So that's the first point in that. What I'd say in terms of security, actually ours is one of the most secure systems out there, because the only way, and Max I'm sure has experienced this, the only way of accessing the inventory is when it's delivered to the picking station. All the rest of the time, your inventory, your stock, and if you've got risk, if you've got leakage, if you've got potential theft in your business that's causing you concerns, all of that inventory is tied in a cube that nobody can access unless that bin is actually delivered to the picking station. So it's a very, very secure system. And finally, in terms of people, we've got experience with our clients that staff want a nice, ergonomic, good company to work in. It's the best way that you'll retain staff. Happy workers are what all companies aspire to have. Because ours is a goods-to-person system, it means people have got a nice working environment. They're not having to walk up and down aisles. We've seen pictures from Max's original warehouse layout, and the video we showed has got thousands of meters of racking that people have to walk up and down every day. Our clients regularly tell us that they see at the end of a working shift, people become tired. They become physically and mentally tired. They generate more picking errors. Those people, if they've got the opportunity to go and work in an environment where it's nicer, where it's a better environment, where they're not having to do that, they're going to go there. So it's much better for your business to invest in an ergonomic solution that actually retains those good people in your business who can continue to add your value.
Thanks, James. Max, last word or good?
Last word? Oh, yeah. I haven't prepared any last words.
We will remember
today. That. No, if anybody has some more questions, so I'm around for maybe 1 hour longer, and then...
Yeah, the very last one.
Just out of curiosity for Max, for the same productivity, how has the manpower evolved before and after, approximately?
So we grew 30% in turnover, and we hired one guy. But we didn't lay off people, because I said it's not very good for a project if I say to our warehouse people, the next 2 years will be very hard, but the good news is I don't need you anymore. So that's the reason why we said we will not lay off people. And we moved work from the sales department and from our other workshop to the logistics to get the people busy so that they feel safe. And yeah, we are a family business. So, but we really haven't increased the people that work in our logistics. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks, and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.